Hi, this is Jenna.
And this is Heather.
And this is Conspiracies Unlocked. And Heather has a good show for us today. But I just want to say really quick before we get started that I know that our audio is not the greatest right now. Before we even started recording, we had purchased Donner Podcast Console Bundle. So it has the little, what's it called? The little board with like all the buttons and
the switch. I think it's
the switchboard. Yeah, the switchboard with like, and the clapping and the everything. Like we could do the screams and the cheers and the clapping and I don't even know what else.
There's even auto-tune.
And there's auto-tune and there comes with a microphone and it's supposed to be, it even says on it, easy to use, easy operation with big knobs and buttons. And it's supposed to be this stupid easy thing.
Easy to use my app.
Yeah, it's not easy. And we've been, every time that we record, we try to mess with it. And every time we get sad and we give up on life.
It just doesn't work.
We do have the correct audio that hopefully somebody at some point in our life will help us. If anybody has ever used this, please let us know how to make it work.
We're a little technically challenged. So bear with us while we resolve this audio issue.
Yeah, so we might even have to re-record some episodes. I hope not, but if we can get it.
No, I don't think we're going to re-record.
Yeah,
really.
we're just
going to push on. You guys can deal with it. Turn the volume down on your earbuds.
We're going to try to stop yelling so much, maybe, so you're not like, ah, and like rip out your earbuds and say, fuck this.
But that's our personality. We're very animated, and especially when we get together, we're high energy. So that's just yeah, that's just us. It's gonna be hard to tone it down, but
hopefully maybe someday we'll do a video so then you guys can see all of our hand motions.
Oh gosh, you would think we were Italian because we're always talking with our hands.
All right. So this is Heather's show today, and what are we
well, it's our show. I think
but Heather's episode, sorry.
Yeah,
Heather's episode.
So I did the research on this one because this is something that I think a lot of us have actually heard about at some point, but we just...
I don't think I've ever heard of this. You told me a little bit about it, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's kind of...
I have no idea. I've never heard of this.
So what it is a civilization that resides in Antarctica and also specifically in Middle Earth. So, I mean, there have been movies about
Journey
Middle
to the
Earth.
Center of the Earth.
There's been... I
love that movie. I love those movies.
No. What is his name? Oh, gosh, I had such a crush on him.
Brendan Fraser.
Oh, my God.
I don't know. My friend Ashley had a crush on him, too, and I don't even know why.
He is so handsome. Have you seen him in Tarzan?
Yeah, I have that movie, but, like, I had that, VHS. No!
My middle name is Jane. I'm like, I'm Jane, you Tarzan.
No, you're like, hello, and I'm like, hell no.
I don't know, but I think that he's super cute.
The Mummy, I think that he is like, but I think that it's because I was only like 11, 12 when that came out, and I feel like he was too old for me.
Oh,
do you get what I'm saying? Because he was like 30 or 40, and so to me, I was like 11, like that's ancient. Like, oh my God. Everybody's so ugly.
He already has one foot in the grave.
Exactly. Well, and then, you know who my first crush was ever? And this is even worse.
Ooh, I'll tell you mine. Who's yours?
Because I was like 8 when Field of Dreams came out.
No.
Not Kevin Costner, because I think he was in it.
I was going to say, because he would have been really old compared to you back then.
No, it's getting worse. Freaking Ray Liotta was something like Shoeless Joe Jackson in it.
Yeah.
And he was one of the baseball players, ghost baseball players, and I loved him.
Probably because you like paranormal and he was a ghost.
Well, I think it was his eyes, too. They're so blue.
Yeah. No, so he's handsome,
yeah, and then but later, like the past few years, he wasn't. And then, but whenever he died
the past few years, he was like 90.
I know, he wasn't that old.
I'm just kidding.
But he just died this past year.
I know.
And I was like, I shed like a little tear, just like one little like heartbreak, because that's like my crush from that's like my first one. You know, I had Ray Liotta and JTT.
Yeah,
the old and the young and the restless. You know,
I don't think that you were alone in either of those because they're both very handsome.
Well, JTT was like,
yeah,
that was like the first poster that I had up in my room when I was like 8. My dad made me a collage, and I think he totally like was like, what the fuck did I do? Because then Instinct came along and my whole room, like, ceiling, everything was plastered.
Yeah.
Like, why did I let her do it to JTT? He put like 10 pictures and I put up like 1,000.
Did you have like the Teen Bop or
yes!
whatever, the Tiger
Teen
Beat?
Bop, Tiger Beat, J14,
yes!
all of it.
Okay, so when I was little too, I loved, my first crush that I remember Lost Boys?
I never watched it. I know.
Stop. Okay,
so
we have to watch Lost Boys together.
Yeah.
I think that you would really enjoy it, honestly. But Corey Haim, do you remember Corey Haim?
Yeah, no. Brad taught me about
R.I.P. Corey Haim.
The Coreys, the 2 Coreys.
Yeah, the Coreys.
The Coreys. So I did watch. Oh my gosh. Can't Buy Me Love was one of the movies, but I don't think Corey Haim was in that. It was John Cusack.
But I think
that he might have been in it.
He was in License to Drive, for
yes,
sure.
Yes, License to Drive. So my husband, to all you people out there, my husband is 12 years older than me. So he is 40. He just turned 49, and I am 36 or 7. Fuck, how old am I? I don't know. But anyways, it doesn't matter. So he's older. So
forever 29, okay?
I grew up, right? That sounds right. So I grew up in like the 90s era, and he grew up in the 80s. So he's the one that taught me about the 2 Coreys. I mean, I always liked the Molly Ringwald movies and John Hughes movies.
Oh,
but I had never seen License to Drive or Can't Buy Me Love. And Can't Buy Me Love. Where's your $2? To me and Brad always say that. Where's my $2? That was Can't Buy Me Love.
No. That was Better Off Dead.
Better Off Dead.
Better
I
Off
love
Dead.
that movie.
I want my $2.
Where's my $2?
No, he says, I want my $2.
Yeah, I want my $2. I want my $2. If you guys haven't seen that movie, it's hilarious. This kid, John Cusack, and he keeps trying to kill himself, and it doesn't work every time.
Oh, it's so sad, but it's so funny.
He tries to hang himself. He tries to hang himself in the garage or something, and then his dad pulls up the garage door, and he just falls to the ground. Every time he tries to go down.
We do not condone self-harm
or
anything at all. It's just,
but this was an 80s.
It's an 80s movie.
Before all this was bad and morbid and really. Well, I mean, it was always bad, but it wasn't so prevalent as it is now, where people are just doing that left and right. But, anyways, all right. So we got way off course. So. But I do think that you guys should all watch all the 80s movies.
Yeah, you gotta watch all the 80s movies if you have not.
Anything John Hughes did is amazing.
John Hughes.
John Hughes.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up in that time. I'm learning.
No, that's okay. I only know John Hughes because he was... John Hughes movies were the number one 80s movie.
And so Heather grew up in that era, but she's over here wearing her Justin Bieber hoodie, so I don't fucking know. And then I'm here wearing
Wally.
No, that's not Wally. That's the
That is Wally.
That is not Wally. It's from the 80s. It's I Am 5 or something. I got this shirt from an ex-boyfriend.
Oh, no. I remember
it's a little robot dude.
The little robot movie with the little boy, and then they hide, and then they
Nerds or something?
No, it's not Nerds. Oh my gosh, we have to look it up. What is the title of that movie?
I don't know, and he goes I Am 5 or I forget, because people always say it's a shirt that I got from one of my ex-boyfriends.
It's gonna bother me if
he just left it at my house, but it's so soft and comfy.
I can't even look
it
up right
shirt.
now. Bugging me.
I don't know, but
okay,
it's mine now.
We'll revisit that, but it looks okay. If anybody remembers the 80s movies, it looks like Wall-E. He was a robot, and I swear it was an alien movie, and that's why I remember it, but I can't. I watched all the sci-fi movies.
Short Circuit.
Short Circuit. There you go.
Short Circuit. Yep, that's it. And he goes, I am Sammy or something. I'm not sure. Johnny 5. I am Johnny 5 or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Short Circuit. That's what it is.
All right, so that was a tangent, but closing up that, so I am wearing the 80s shirt. Heather is wearing the 2000 shirt, even though she grew up in the 80s and I grew up in the 90s. It should be opposite. Whatever. Anyways.
We like what we like.
So, but I like your shirt. You just took off your hoodie and now you're wearing a Vans shirt. That's cute.
Yeah, I know.
With
The
hoodie
got really hot, but...
Very quickly. Okay, so... What are we talking about today?
What we are going to be discussing today is the civilization in Antarctica.
Oh, yeah.
Which is located in the Middle Earth.
Journey to the center of the
Journey to the center of the
Which
Earth.
is what got us all on that
I know, because I was just thinking of that movie.
Oh, my God. Wowzers.
This research is not based on the movie, but you should go watch it.
We're not doing another tangent. Just keep going.
So
keep moving forward.
Have you heard of Admiral Richard E. Byrd?
No, I have heard of none of this.
Okay, so a little bit of background about Admiral Richard Evelyn Byrd Jr.
Evelyn is a girl name.
That's his middle name.
Okay.
He was born on October 25th, 1888, and he died March 11th, 1957. He was an American aviator, a naval officer, and an explorer. He received the Medal of Honor, which is the highest honor of valor given by the United States. So he was highly respected, decorated.
Yeah. He kind of did everything.
Yeah.
And then he was an explorer, too. That's so fun. Back then, it was way better to be an explorer. I feel like now you can't really explore anything. Like, you can, but it's like more I don't know. It seems like everything's already been explored, or it's like cut off where you can't. You have to have like an explorer's license or something. Or
well, especially
a permit to explore.
In Antarctica, you definitely need to have... we'll get into it later in the talk here, but in Antarctica, especially where he was exploring, you can't just say, I'm going to go to Antarctica, I'm going to book a flight to Antarctica. It's not like I'm going to book a flight to Italy, or I'm going to book a flight to Sweden, or wherever you want to travel to.
Yeah, you can only go there every, a few months out of the year or something, right?
You're just not allowed to go there. You have to be like a scientist, or you have to have like
you have to prove
purpose
of why you're going there, and like then get it approved by like everybody in the world.
It's just like you just can't go there. So he graduated from the U.S. Naval Academy in 1912. So by 1912, he had already graduated the Naval Academy. He served with the Navy for until the end of World War I. So he was actually an admiral he did serve in the World War I.
Wow.
Yeah, so he developed navigational systems and methods, which was one of the very first that the Navy ever used on their first transatlantic flight in 1919.
That's
so
cool.
He was like a pioneer
in all this
in aviation,
and he believed in this Antarctica, this Middle Earth civilization.
He did.
Wow.
Yeah, he wasn't like a conspiracy theorist. He wasn't everything that he experienced is backed by his his.
I wonder if in the movie, if they talk about this guy in the Journey to the Center of the Earth, I wonder if they talk about this explorer guy being like, you know, they always go back in the old books and they're like, this guy in this book said da 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 da, and he's referred to as this, and he's believable because of all the shit that he's done. And
I would have to rewatch. I really want to rewatch it now.
I have that movie. We need to rewatch it.
You have it?
I have it on my Amazon Prime. I bought it. I love that movie.
Oh, good. Okay.
The kids like it too.
Yeah, we're gonna have to watch it for sure.
Yeah.
Because I didn't watch it, prior to.
I'm just curious to see, because they usually, like, a lot of movies try to tie in real life applications to the movies.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So they would have that little bit of, like, the person who first found it or whatever. Anyways, go on.
Or, you know what? They could have changed the name. Where, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
maybe they didn't say Admiral Byrd. Maybe they said, Admiral whatever. Like, you know what I mean? How they'll do that sometimes.
Okay, go on.
Because I don't know if they need, like, permission to use his name or whatever. But, so, and now we're going to fast forward a little bit to May 9th, 1926, where Byrd was acting as a navigator for Floyd Bennett as a pilot. They were the first pilots to make the very first airplane journey over the North Pole, which was like a big deal back
Wow,
then. Nobody had flown over the North Pole. And the flight lasted 15 and a half hours, so it was a very long flight. And because that they accomplished that flight on May 9th, 1926, they both were awarded the U.S. Congressional Medal of Honor. So that's how they got the Medal of Honor, because they accomplished that.
They went over, it's almost like
it's just
going over the world, going over the... Wow.
No one had
I never even thought about doing that.
No one had ever...
They probably never even thought about doing that.
And reportedly, they did not see Santa Claus at the North Pole.
I was going to ask that.
I don't know if they saw some reindeer or something.
But in the Christmas Chronicles, everything is back to a movie. In the Christmas Chronicles, it's because they're shielded. Remember?
Yeah, that's magic. And then... so you probably recognize this name. So right after they both got the Congressional Medal of Honor, now people are taking both of them even more seriously. You know, has this background, was in World War I, was making navigational methods which had never been used before. And now they did this 15 and a half hour flight. So now they got the attention of a very famous American aviator named Charles A. Lindbergh. Lindbergh, yeah.
Lindbergh Field, that's where we are.
So exactly. So that was May 1927. So just like 1 year, because it was May 9th, 1926. May 1927, he... aided Charles Lindbergh with the national navigational training, and he used the extended runway for Lindbergh's transatlantic solo flight in 1927. So he helped him accomplish that a very famous solo flight that Lindbergh did that got him on the on the map.
I wonder if if Admiral Byrd, I wonder if he has any if he has airports and stuff named after him somewhere. I bet that he does.
I don't know, probably. I'd have to look it up.
Because Lindbergh Field is right there.
Yeah, so and I've always known that name.
I've never heard that name.
Before researching this, I never realized like how connected that what he was to the story. I've heard this, bits and pieces of the civilization in Antarctica, but never had I put two and two together because I just didn't know all the facts. But so 1 year after that, everything's just started happening like boom, boom, boom.
Well, yeah, that's just how technology works. It's like one person and then the rest just fall into place. It's just like,
and then once you get
like
that
the
credit,
dominoes,
you just go like boom, boom, boom. So then the next year in 1928, this is where it gets interesting. I know you've heard these names. So then in 1928, it was announced that Byrd was going to be going to explore the unknown regions of Antarctica. So this is when we get into Antarctica, okay? That was a little bit of the back... Because you want to know who this man is.
That's very important.
Why is he relevant?
Crazy person that just like... a crazy scientist just being like, let's go see what's in the center of the Earth.
He was a decorated, he did
war
everything. Veteran and everything. And so now, he's making plans. He's going to do these explorations to Antarctica in the air. He had a large financial backing from Ford and John D. Rockefeller Jr.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because Rockefeller has everything.
Yes, and
all the money.
Ford
was big then because he was the only one that did a car yet.
Yeah,
right? He was the first one that... Then cars were going then in the 20s.
Yeah, they had a lot of money. Ford and Rockefeller Jr., they estimated that at that time in 1928, do you know how much money they gave him in 1928?
I'm going to say $2 million.
It was less, but the dollar was a different value. Yeah. They gave him $400,000.
Which would be equivalent today to... Did you do the math on that?
I didn't do the math on it.
In 1928? Let me see really quickly. I'm curious. Here, we're going to pause really quick just so I can see it. Okay, we're back, and I just found out that $400,000 in 1928 is equivalent to $7 million today.
Wow, $7 million?
Yeah. So, they gave him $7 million to go explore Antarctica.
I mean,
I would take it.
Yeah,
let's do it.
And it was for science, and it was also for America to get more on the map of like, we are going to be the first to explore Antarctica. We
always want to be the first to the moon, first to this, first to that, whatever.
We want to have our stamp on it and our name on it before someone else gets out there. So Byrd's first Antarctica expedition, it started in 1928 and it lasted until 1930. It did go all the way, to 1941, but that first chunk was where he spent that money, that $7 million. He was based in what they called Little America home base. So you know how like they make a home base and they name them, they called it Little America just because they want to be the first. It's America.
Just like New York was named after York. Like everything on the East Coast was all named after England. Like Plymouth Rock because they left Plymouth, England.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah, everything is,
So not only did they name it Little America for the home base, but they got money from various,
other organizations?
Well, just other wealthy, those are the two that I named, but there was another one, which you probably know the name, Rockefeller.
You already said Rockefeller.
Oh, I did. I'm so sorry. I did say Rockefeller, but the what I wanted to say about that is how they named the Little America the home base. They also discovered a whole new mountain range, which they named the Rockefeller Mountains.
Oh, there's Rockefeller Mountains in Antarctica right now.
Right now.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
So they went around, and when they went around flying around exploring, they were mapping it out. They were naming things. It had not been done before.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
So they're going around, they're exploring as much as they can in that 1928 to 1930 time period. They're just going around exploring, seeing things that no one has seen before. They're documenting things. They're mapping everything out. They're not renaming things, but they're just naming things. And then there was also a huge landmass, a huge territory that had never been seen or discovered before, and he actually named that after his wife, and it's called the Marie Byrd Land.
Oh, cute.
So there's a Marie Byrd Land in Antarctica that is after his wife. So I thought that was kind of cute to mention.
Sweet.
Because, he can name whatever he wants. Yeah. He's the navigator, and
he's the one that's making it.
And they gave the money, so of course he's going to throw Rockefeller out there for them. Give him a little props. They paid, so we're gonna.
She gets a little island. They get a whole mountain range.
Well, I don't know if it was an island. It was just a territory that they had never seen. It was just
cool.
Unknown, a huge territory. So then what ended up happening is they ended up doing flights over the South Pole, and they didn't have any mishaps or anything. It was a 19-hour flight in 1929.
So they did the North Pole first, and then they did the South Pole?
No, they did the South Pole first. Okay. So they started in the South Pole in 1929, and it was the first flight over the South Pole. No one had done that before.
Okay, but what about the North Pole?
That is coming up a little bit later. So they did do the South Pole first. They continued their expedition, and they did say that it was very treacherous and very hard, because you have to think that they have bases and they're living in Antarctica during this time. And while they were mapping and claiming land around the pole, they had to endure temperatures of minus 58 degrees and minus 76 degree Fahrenheit, and sometimes much lower. And that at one point they got really, really sick, and they were suffering frostbite, carbon monoxide poisoning, and it was very dangerous for them. It was not like an easy, like, oh, we're just gonna go fly around and map this out. Like, they had to survive in Antarctica during this time.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure there was a lot of just sitting and waiting for storms or whatever to pass.
They got really sick and almost weren't able to like complete their expedition. And this is fast forwarding to 1935 when everyone was getting really sick.
And that's just the two of them. Could you imagine being stuck in this isolated, freezing place on the verge of death with just one other person for 2 freaking years?
I think at this point they did have more team, like they did have more people that had came eventually, but they were the ones that were actually going around and flying and mapping and exploring. The other people were more just like, you know, maybe, I don't know what their purpose or what their role was, but they weren't flying around and mapping it. They had other roles. And then in 1941, at the request of the president at the time was Franklin D. Roosevelt, Byrd took command of the U.S. Antarctic Service, and he led a 3rd expedition to Antarctica. And this expedition was financed and sponsored by the U.S. government. So now he went from, you know, Ford
private
and
people to the government.
The government. Now it got the attention, basically by the 40s, this got the attention of the president. Yeah. So yeah, he did get the medals, and he was in the World War I, and he was decorated. But now it's like the president is saying, "Okay, yeah, this is something big. Like we need to do this more."
A really side note, really quick. Yeah. You are going to laugh, maybe not.
What?
So I was like trying to like figure out what the other pole is called. You know, South Pole, North Pole, and I thought Antarctica was the North Pole. And it is not. It's in the South Pole.
Oh.
Or the Arctic is in the North Pole. And so you've been... Every time they keep talking about the North or the Antarctica, I keep thinking of the North Pole. That's why I was like, wait, I thought you were at the North Pole. But no, you've been at the South Pole.
We've been at the South Pole the whole time. Yeah.
I always thought now I had to bring up maps and everything. I mean, it's not on a normal... Like, I mean, it is on a map, but you don't look at the top and the bottom. You're usually looking for, like... locations where you want to go. No, I feel so stupid.
No, I think it's because you remember that I said on May 9th, 1926 that he did his acting as a navigator with Lord Bennett. They were them two together did the first airplane journey over the North Pole.
Oh, okay.
So he did do that on May 9th, 1926. But then we kind of switched gears to the South Pole because that's where all the money was funded for the South Pole, like all of this exploration.
Maybe that's what it is.
That's probably what it was.
No, I think that's just who I am. I'm just an idiot in general. Oh my God. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's so funny. Okay.
So now they got the attention of the president, and now they're going to be going on a U.S. government-funded exploration. And this is during, like, World War II. Now we're getting into World War II, okay? Byrd actually served on the staff of the Chief Naval Operations during World War II. And he had a lot of duties, and one of them was evaluating the Pacific Islands as operational sites. And then, so he kind of had to step back from the exploration because of the war, and he had to, you know, he had his duties elsewhere. He was an admiral. He had to do what he had to do for World War II. Everyone did.
Yeah.
So then after World War II, Byrd was then placed in charge of the Navy's Operation High Jump. So Operation High Jump was the 4th and greatest exploration. That was the one that was funded by the U.S. government.
Okay.
That's when they got it back into that. They had to put a pause because of the war. That one involved 4,700 men, 13 ships, including an aircraft carrier, and 25 planes. So they went from this small little operation to now this is government funded. Sky's the limit. I didn't see a number of how much the government gave him, but
yeah,
you know how the government.
Yeah, the government
probably
just like, here's $1 billion.
$1 billion. Who knows?
We're probably still paying it off today.
Probably. But the Operation High Jump, was a huge feat. I mean, they had mapped and photographed over 500,000 square miles of the Arctic, and most of it, if not all of it, had never been seen before. Even he hadn't even seen it on his previous flights. And I didn't look how big Antarctica is as a continent.
I was actually. It's huge.
That would be a good number to know because, I mean, they map.
And it looks like they only mapped out like the bottom quarter, and then it looks like other people like Russia and India and France and Japan and Australia, and the UK, South Africa, Germany, Chile, Argentina, Poland, like they've all have their own stuff in Antarctica, their own like little cities or spots.
Yeah, like we named ours like Little America. They have their little
there's the Mary Byrd Land and Ross Ice Shelf, and so Scott Base. Well, Scott Base is New Zealand, but then there's McMurdo, U.S., Victoria Land. So you can kind of tell because then up here it's like Sene, that's South Africa, and then Dakshin Gangotri is India, and like so you can kind of tell like what's what. Mizuho is Japan, I would imagine. Well, it says that, but I know I'm saying it all wrong, but...
Well, I mean, pretty much almost every part of the world has their hand in Antarctica at this point.
Really.
And it started with America being first to go out there and map everything out.
It's 5.275 million square miles is Antarctica.
Oh, wow.
Which is roughly the size of Russia. Russia's a million more.
Wow,
but
it's the size of Russia.
It's bigger than United States. Yeah. Yep. And South America is about the same size as Russia and Antarctica. It's bigger than Australia. Not as big as Asia. Asia's 17 square miles. 17 million square miles.
Almost 17. That's not right.
No, a million. I'm talking to millions
Yeah,
here.
we're talking millions.
Yeah,
no. Well, that helps us kind of put in perspective of like what they were really doing and how much they were really trying to accomplish.
Yeah, that's huge.
It was a lot.
You can't just go out there for 2 years and be like, okay, got it all done. Like, obviously, that's why they had to go back a few times.
Oh, they went, so this is the fourth time they went back. And this is where things get very, very interesting because many claim that the exploration, which was way more than mapping out Antarctica. Okay, so it's been thought that it was actually, in fact, covert military operations, alleged that there was secret underground Nazi bases. And you have to remember, this is after World War II. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of people that thought, well, that's where the Nazis had put underground bases, and that it was much more than just mapping out the actual continent. There's a big conspiracy that the Nazis not only had bases deep under the ice mountains, but they also had UFO technology in the form of mercury-powered flying discs, which were also discovered under the ice during those explorations. And that's why they kept going back. Because they're like, what is this?
I've actually heard of the Nazis having, like, alien and space and time traveling and stuff like that in other things, not just Antarctica, because I've never even heard of any of this.
Yeah.
But just in general on other TV shows that I've seen on, like, the History Channel and stuff, they have, where they believe that the Nazis were time traveling and shit.
And then that's also said that's why so many countries have their hand in it, because it's like a world thing. Like the US, they can't tell us, like the general population, but they have to talk about it with other presidents and delegates from other countries, and that's why they all have a little bit of their hand in it, because it's like that would be like not even a US national security, that would be a world security problem, or like whatever you want to call it. Yeah, like, everyone would come together. Yeah. There's more details as of in March 1947, the expedition that Byrd flew approximately 1,700 miles beyond the pole into the Earth. So not only were they flying over, but they actually found an entrance. Like, they're saying that the pole itself is like a portal, and there's an opening, and that it's like a tunnel of some sort, or like a portal, and that he actually flew into the Earth, and that's where he saw, and his co-pilot saw lush green vegetation, forests, lakes, rivers, mountains. There was no snow, no ice, and he actually saw a large animal, which he could only explain as possibly a mammoth, but because he wasn't like right up to it, that's the only thing he could say is maybe it was a mammoth, but he didn't know for sure. He just saw something that resembled what he would describe as a mammoth. And I mean, they didn't go to this center of the Earth. Obviously, the center of the Earth is going to be much farther than
millions and millions of miles.
It's going to be much farther than that, you know, because he only went 1,700 miles. But that's how far into where they already started to see this otherly world, or whatever you want to call it, this subterranean lush, I don't know, oasis. Yeah, I don't know, what would you even call it at that point?
The lost world, which is
So
that is like in the movies and stuff. Like, can you imagine, like, if like that is really there? Like, how many animals are there? Is that where the dinosaurs went? Did they all escape to Antarctica? How would they get there? How did these animals get there? Is it just because it's been untouched by man, and that's why they're able to survive and thrive?
Well, you have to think too, you know, the world's continents used to be all together.
Yeah, that's the Pangea effect, right? Pangea.
They all migrated there somehow, or not all of them, but some did, and then they just somehow found this entrance and could survive there because it was more habitable. I mean, I don't know.
That's so crazy. Okay, go on.
So then in January, and remember, this is all funded by the government. So these are the notes that when he came back from his exploration, this is what he's telling the government. Like, well, this is what he's you know, making, like, it's almost like a captain's log, you know, when they're out to sea and they have to do their log. He had like his aviation log.
Yeah,
and, like, this is what
they're
he
like
saw.
diary of this and that. Yeah.
And so then in January 1956, he went again. This time he went 2,300 miles beyond the pole. And then this is when things get very, very interesting, because he reported to the U.S. government that not only did he see the land the way that was described, he actually met with living beings that were living in this part of the world. So they wouldn't even be aliens or anything. I mean,
aliens come from aliens are from space.
Yeah.
This would be a creature down there, but is it human? What does it look like? What does it say?
So
what do they say?
What was reported in his diary that was found, that they landed and they were welcomed there. And when they were welcomed there, they said, "Welcome to our domain." That this is
in English?
They were speaking in English. This is our domain. Welcome to our domain. And they actually said, these are quotes from his diary. So I'm going to read it exactly the way it's quoted. It says, "This is coming from the being. I bid you welcome to our domain, Admiral." And then he is seated along a long table, you know, and then the being motions for him to sit down in a chair. And he goes on to say to Admiral Byrd, "We have let you enter here because you are of a noble character and well known on the surface world, Admiral." So they call us surface dwellers, and we're the surface world.
How do they know what's going on in the surface?
Because when we see a UFO in the sky, reportedly, and I'll get into it more, but that's their technology. It's not from space. It's from our planet. They're more advanced than us, and they just happen to live under the surface.
So it's almost like it's like their satellites almost. Like the UFOs are like them.
And they come and check up, and they worry about the planet because we affect the planet, and they live on the planet, so they want the planet to survive, and they want humanity to survive.
But where did they come from?
Well, we're going to get into that.
Okay.
So he goes on to say that you are in the domain of the Ariani. I might be pronouncing that wrong, but it's Arianni. Ariani. When I looked up, because I was like, how do you say that? So I did look up on Google, and it did say Ariani. So he says, you are in the domain of the Ariani, the inner world of the earth. We shall not delay your mission, and you will be safely escorted back to the surface for a distance beyond. But now, Admiral, I should tell you why we have summoned you here. And then he goes on. I'm assuming he, it could be she, it could be they. I mean, I don't know the pronouns. I don't even know if they have pronouns. I don't know anything. I'm just saying he because I'm thinking of like this being is like the authoritan or like the president or whatever. So I'm associating it with male. Could have been female. Could be non-binary. I have no idea. So just excuse the he because I don't know the pronoun. It just says, our interest begins just after your race exploded the first atomic bomb in Japan. So you have to remember, we just had
repeat that one more time.
Okay. So
our race.
The reason why they summoned Admiral Byrd, so they're meaning that like he was almost like subliminally like summoned to go there. Like they like drawed him there.
They drew him to go there.
They opened it for him. They allowed him. They summoned him.
Yeah. Okay.
And the reason being is because they took interest in the surface world. More interest in the surface world after the first atomic bomb had been.
Wow.
Because that affects them. If we're starting to do all these atomic bombs and nuke everybody, we're going to kill the Earth. They live in the Earth.
They live inside of it.
They
their
don't
home.
Want it to. That affects them also. So they said that it was very alarming, and that they sent their flying machines, we call UFOs, to the surface to investigate what your race had done, like meaning the human race, had done, and that they had never wanted to interfere before, and they never wanted to let themselves be known to the surface dwellers. But at that point, they had to, because it was a certain power that is not for man. Like, men should, like the human race, like, we should not have that power. That we don't know what to do with it. We're too careless with it. It's too much. And atomic energy is not something that we should even be playing around with. They went on to say that they sent a message to the powers of our world. All over the world, they sent some kind of message. They didn't say how they sent the message or what the message said. It just said that they have contacted, all over the world, the highest in each country,
or queen or whoever,
and that we have not complied with them, and that now Admiral Byrd has been chosen to be a witness of what is actually happening. And to let them know the world, that their inner world exists, and that their culture and science is many thousand years beyond their race.
Why would they want anyone to know? Because then we're going to go there and exploit them, because that's what the human race does.
That's a very good point. I do also think that, that is a really good point, but they even said that their culture and science, their technology is thousands of years beyond our surface world human race, capability. So they're probably not afraid that we're going to try to come there and exploit them, because they can just take us out if they wanted to. Like,
that's true. So maybe that's what happens to people who go there and disappear to Antarctica. Maybe they just take them out and they're like, nope.
We don't want you here. Bye-bye. You were never here. I don't know. I mean, I think that just because their technology is so advanced, they're not really worried about that. But they went on to say that your race, meaning like the surface world human race, has reached a point of no return, and that there are those among us who would like to destroy the world and would rather just with power. So basically they said that like the human race, the surface world race, all we care about is power and control, and ultimately that's going to destroy our world. Admiral Byrd pretty much just nodded and just really was like, okay, like
taking it all in.
Taking it all in.
Could you imagine? Like, just going down there and just being like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and
there's a whole world down here.
Wouldn't even, like, know if it was real or not. Like, is this really happening? Like, what's happening? It would be very surreal, I guess. That he went on and actually said in 1945 and afterward that they tried to contact the race, but the efforts were met with hostility.
So the underground, the Antarctica people try to come up to the surface people?
Yes. And it said
we were hostile?
We were hostile, and we fired upon them. So they had their craft in the air. They came out of I'm calling it a portal, but I don't know if it's a portal. They
just
came
a
out
big-ass cave hole.
Of the pole. And they were fired upon, and so they're like, okay, they're firing on us, so that's not going to be, they're not going to want to sit down and they're not trying to be civilized and sit down and communicate. So we just automatically fired at them.
Yeah.
Like, no questions asked. Like, who are you? What the hell do you want? Boom, boom, boom. Get out of here. Like, we don't care. Like, we're going to fire on you.
Yeah.
So we were very, I guess, probably primitive in their eyes.
For
really
sure.
Stupid.
Could you imagine like seeing like cave people and then them just like throwing rocks at us and shit? I'm sure it looked like that. Caveman be like, throw, like, bing, bing.
But this is when things got really eerie, and this is when he actually told Admiral Byrd that there is a great storm gathering in your surface world. A black fury, a black fury that will not it will not show itself for many years. There will be no answer in your armies. There will be no safety in your science. And it will rage on until every flower of your culture is trampled and all human things are leveled to vast chaos.
That's crazy. But then what would happen to them? Or do they feel like they would be safe because they're below?
Oh, yeah. This is just a surface world. Like, basically, we're going to be screwed. They're going to be good because they're going to be like, how they say, like, that people, like, the elite and, like, different things, they have, like, bunkers.
Yeah,
and, like,
I just saw a guy's bunker online. They just
posted the doomsday preppers.
Yeah. They just posted this huge-ass bunker that this guy did, like, 20 stories below the earth. I just saw it on Weird History. Yeah. Weird History on the Facebook page.
So they have like the ultimate bunker.
Yeah,
they're like,
right? Well, they've already been there for thousands of years probably, so they're already good.
They're solid.
Fine. Well, now we know where to go.
Yeah, we need to go.
We just need to go charter a jet or a plane, whatever, to get us that far to Antarctica and find the little hole and swoop in there before all chaos comes down here.
I mean, he went on to say that it happened once before, and the Dark Ages came, and they lasted for more than 500 years. And the Dark Ages are going to be coming again now for our current surface, race and our time on Earth. And that some will live through the storm, but many will perish, and most of our population will be gone, but there'll be a few that will be able to survive.
Yeah, the fucking elite in their bunkers. The doomsday preppers. Guys, we gotta get ready.
We all need bunkers.
We need bunkers that are like 2 miles below the Earth's surface at least. Minimum 2 miles. And we need enough water and food to sustain life for how many years? 400 years, it says.
Well, they went on to tell him, Admiral Byrd, that after all this happens, that they're going to come to the surface and they're going to claim the people that survived. And it says there's going to be a great distance, and it's going to be a whole new world that's going to become of the ruins of our race.
Do you think that they are the ones that repopulated the Earth last time?
Maybe after the dinosaurs?
Yeah, after the dinosaurs, and they've been down there, and then they're like, okay, cool, so...
we need to try again.
Well, try again. Let's see what happens. Maybe we're their science project.
That's a really good point. Like, we definitely could be.
They then put a bunch of people on Earth, like, in various locations of Earth with various small forms of tools, and then that would explain the pyramids and all that, because they're like something else, like it could it be aliens that helped us? Maybe
they're not aliens because they're of this planet,
but we are calling, maybe it was them the whole time, we're just calling them aliens, and they were like, fuck, you guys really suck, we really fucked up this human race, alright, let's give them some help, let's build these pyramids or some shit for them,
but
we need to help them.
It's funny that you say that, because you said the word again, and he went on to say that when that time arrives, we shall come forth again to help revive your culture and your race.
This is so spooky. Oh my gosh.
Yes. So you were spot on.
Oh my gosh.
That's exactly. He says to rebuild your race and human race, the surface world race, to begin anew.
I feel like we're getting our tinfoil hats ready.
I know. And then he gave this message. This is the message that he was supposed to. He said, "You are my son." He called Admiral Byrd his son. So it's like, he God? Like, who is this really?
And that, wow.
You know how they say the whole biblical, like, when everything goes to shit, God's gonna come and take the chosen ones back?
Oh my gosh.
Is he
what
the
if it
freaking
has
God?
nothing to do with being good or bad or whatever? Maybe you just have to have the elite money and have the bunker down below, and
we all need a bunker, okay?
We said in the beginning that we might end up with our own tinfoil hats. Who knows?
Yes, and he says, "You are my son."
Here we are, like 4 episodes deep, and I'm already like, oh my god, we need tinfoil hats, we need a bunker, we need water. Guys, we need lots of water.
We should have merch that are tinfoil, like not tinfoil hats, but like aluminum hats. You can make them in your machine shop.
We should have a strainer. That's what it should be. It should be
like in Back to the Future. Don't we put, like, remember in Back to the Future they put like this, it looks like a strainer with
all the wires. We should have a picture of her, like hoodies or whatever. We should have a picture of us with little strainers on our heads, being like, ooh.
I really wish like that I knew what this being looked like, because they don't really describe them. Well, I mean, I think I did see some other, well, I'll get into that in a second, but I just want to say the closing thing that they wanted, the closing thing. I just can't stop thinking about everything else. So it says, you, my son, are to return to the surface world with this message. With those closing words, our meeting seemed at an end. I stood for a moment as if in a dream, but yet I knew I was in reality. And for some strange reason, I bowed slightly, either out of respect or humility. I do not know of which.
Or they made him bow.
Mm-hmm. So after all of this transpired, he went up. This was the end of the meeting. He was able to fly out back to his home base at the time. And of course he had his log, his diary, and was writing everything down. He went back to the U.S. government and he reported everything to the government, because they funded this and they needed all of the and everything with the mapping and everything else, like everything that transpired. And then in 1955, after all of this, Byrd was made officer in charge of the United States Antarctic programs and became the senior authority for the government of all Antarctic matters.
Wow. But he died in the 50s, right?
So he actually passed away in 1957.
So just 2 years later.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I don't know his cause of death. I'd have to look
Could you
that
imagine
up.
being in the 1800s, 1888, when it's like they're just exploring, at that point when he was born, they were barely exploring the West out here, right? Like there were people out here, but there were still people trying to go across the Oregon freaking Trail. And he's over there doing Antarctica.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they didn't have a train system when he was born.
So, no, I think they had trains by then.
They had, but not
1888.
No, 1888. They didn't have trains to California. They did have some trains, but it would only go as far as, like, Texas. It didn't come all the way to California. And here he is, like, getting his own freaking plane out and being like, let's go to Antarctica, guys.
Well, he had his own plane out by the 1926.
Well, yeah, so I guess it was a little bit later, and they were probably all already here. The train was probably over here by now.
The Oregon Trail was long gone by then.
Well, no, because of the TV show. It's all like everything that I do references back to like a movie TV. That's how I travel the world, okay? No, but like on the TV show, 1883, and it's like the prequel to the show Yellowstone, and it shows how they got to Yellowstone and made all that.
Yeah.
Like made the ranch Yellowstone and the fictitious Yellowstone ranch.
Yeah.
And they were crossing over and they took a train to like Texas or so. Like Fort Worth was like the last place that the train went to in 1883. So this was only 5 years later. I mean, how factual the TV show is. I'm pretty sure it's pretty factual.
I mean,
like,
yeah, they have
like
to.
nowadays, I feel like they don't like make shit up anymore for those TV shows. They try to be as historically accurate as possible.
Yeah.
But like, because there was like some pretty gruesome stuff in that TV show. Anyways, yeah, and Tim McGraw was in it, so.
I did enjoy that.
Did you watch
program.
that, 1883?
Yeah, I did.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, that was 5 years prior to him being born, and they didn't have a train to California or to Oregon or anything. They were still using the fucking Oregon Trail.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, a lot happened fast.
I mean, I think that because there was like forts here and there, so there was already like some things, and once you got over here, I think there was things, but to get here, there wasn't a train. Yeah, it was a major like boom, I think, between like trains, planes, and automobiles. They all just boom.
I think it really boomed big time too with World War II because they had to get everything. They had to ramp everything up for the war.
Yeah, that too. Yep, you're right. Yeah. All right. Well, anyways, what else you got?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, in conclusion, that this is a conspiracy. So we don't really know because this is all based on his diaries that was found after his death. So the conspiracy is to whether or not the plane actually made it in, to the North Pole. And people have been coming forward after his death saying that it was a hoax. The diary was discovered in 1996.
Oh, that's crazy. That's so much later.
Yeah.
Why would it be discovered so late? Did he have like a family home or something and they finally went through his attic and found his secret diary or what?
I don't know. I didn't look up more about like where the diary was found, but it did say it was found in 1996. And that, this just shed more light on his famous explorations.
That's 29 years later.
Yeah, but
I know how to do the math. Using my fingers and shit.
But there are, like, I didn't
No,
source...
that's 39 years later.
You're better at math than I am, I believe.
Yeah, 39 years later.
I didn't source any of them because I didn't watch them recently, but I know that I did initially find a long time ago, years ago, I found him on YouTube doing an interview when he was still alive, saying some of the stuff that was in his...
there then? No, I'm just kidding.
Say, like, videos of him...
Yeah,
from
talking about it?
In the 50s, before his death, that he was saying some of the things that were actually written, that matched with his diary, so
really?
Corroborated the
diary.
So, I mean, I don't know if people added that later just to make it look more authentic, or if it was actually his diary. I don't know. I have no way of,
we don't know.
I can't authenticate his diary, or anything. But yeah, so that's the Antarctic, Middle Earth story.
Of the beings, the aliens that live. Well, not aliens.
They would be like another race, I guess.
Yeah, underworld.
Surface dwellers. We're the surface dwellers.
That is so interesting. I'm going to be thinking about that for a while. Like, just... And it almost seems like it's just all connected to, like, you know, why... It seems like it would be plausible as far as why the pyramids did happen. Why... it seems like they see aliens every so often and then they disappear again for a while and then they come back out and then they disappear again and when you look at history, because like I watch Ancient Aliens and all that, and when you're looking at it, it seems like definitely the pyramids during that time, they had flying like objects on the cave walls, or or pyramid, the hieroglyphics, and all that. Or they had
things that look like a man with like a
space like Buzz Lightyear, like the astronaut helmet,
like an astronaut, like,
and they might have put that on not knowing if the Earth was still like radioactive or whatever happens after the atomic bomb.
Oh yeah, no, they would have to protect themselves.
And
they knew we were setting off.
And probably down there, it would be very like clear. It might not, because there's only a little hole, so maybe it's very.
Well, it's supposed to be.
The air is very pure, maybe down there.
Well, they said it was like forest, big forest. Forest.
But how would it do that?
Filter the air.
But the forest trees, they need sunlight. Like, literally...
I think there's, like, its own sun down there. Like, it's its own...
There cannot be its own sun.
But it's, like, its own version. It's, like, its own world. It has everything it needs.
The things that what are they called? The lamps?
Yeah,
to, like, grow pot in the closet? Like,
yeah, it's probably not, like... It's obviously not, like a sun, like our sun in space. But they have their technology. They have their own artificial sun or what. I don't know.
Weird.
I really have to do, like, a deep dive into... This is, like, the tip of it. This is, like, just... how we learned about them. Now I need to like look them up and learn more about them. Like,
but if he's the only person that probably there's any record of.
Well, he would have had a co-pilot, but I couldn't find the name of the co-pilot that went with him.
Oh, into there because it's not it was a different mission. The last co-pilot you mentioned.
So
wowzers. I don't know. That's crazy.
And this isn't even everything that was in his diary. This is just the parts that were like the interesting, notable parts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that was fun. That is, I think, our show for today. Yes? Okay. Yes. So, thank you guys so much for listening, and
please don't forget to like and share and subscribe, and you can find us on Spotify, of course, where you're listening to us, Instagram, Facebook, and soon TikTok. I gotta figure that out.
We're still figuring that out. We're still figuring out the speakers or the microphone as well, so we'll figure things out. We're working on it. Okay, bye guys.
Bye, thank you.